This has just launched, but here are our top favorite new features of this flagship device. Starting off with the size of the device itself. This is a different one for us because the phone itself really hasn't changed all too much in size, but it is a bit larger, making it the largest iPhone Apple has ever created. Here you can see our iPhone 12 Pro Max compared to our iPhone 12 Pro. It's going from a 6.5-inch display on the 11 Pro Max to a 6.7-inch display on the 12 Pro Max. So it is even larger than its predecessor, really is the largest iPhone ever, has a large, beautiful display on the front, and of course that all glass back and the glass front with that ceramic shield. It's just a great looking device, and if you're looking for a big iPhone, then this is the one you're looking for. And with the new design changes, it is more comfortable than ever for us to hold. We actually really like holding on to this phone. Those flat sides really actually do make a difference. Apple has also changed where the button placements are. If we look at our 11 Pro Max there on the left, you can see the power button is a little bit larger and has slid down just a hair, making it more accessible when holding the device. Same thing goes for the volume buttons. They're now just a little bit lower, making them easier to hit when you're holding the phone. Next up on our list, and this is a big one, literally, is a 47% larger image sensor on the new iPhone 12 Pro Max. It's still a 12 megapixel sensor, but by increasing the sensor size and the pixel size itself, it's actually able to absorb more light, giving overall better photos. You can see here how much larger the actual camera module is on our iPhone 12 Pro Max compared to our iPhone 12 Pro. It actually sticks out even more than it did before. Apple is even employing new sensor shift stabilization to these phones, similar to high-end mirrorless cameras like the Nikon Z7 and Z6 or the A7 III from Sony. We've only had a little bit of time with the iPhone 12 Pro Max so far, but we've already been able to tell the difference in some early shots. It hasn't even been dark yet, but we can tell the reduction in noise in some of these better lit photos, as well as increased depth of field. Here are two shots that were taken in very low light, and yet you can see the iPhone 12 Pro Max shot there on the bottom has a little bit less grain in the background of the image. And when we get even closer, you can see the increased depth of field. We focused here on Monica's face, but that reserve sign has even more bokeh to it than it does on the 11 or the 12 Pro. Same thing here, we're focused on the Marshall speaker in the background, but that VW bus there up front has more blur to it. My next favorite feature of the new iPhone 12 Pro Max has got to be battery life. By being Apple's largest phone, it of course comes with the largest battery life. It's really not much more improved over the prior generation, but I think it gets better because you have more ways to charge on top of still having an amazing battery life. Of course, you have MagSafe, you have Qi wireless charging, and a USB-C lightning cable included in the box. In total, you can get 20 hours of watching a video, 12 hours streaming video, 80 hours streaming audio. That compares to 17 hours watching a video, 11 hours streaming, and 65 hours streaming audio on the 12 Pro. Then we have the tele lens. Apple made a big design change here on the iPhone 12 Pro Max when it comes to that telephoto lens. So the bottom lens here is your wide angle lens. It is a 26mm equivalent. On the iPhone 12 Pro and the iPhone 12, it is a 52mm equivalent for the tele lens. But for the iPhone 12 Pro Max, Apple has jumped it up to a 65mm equivalent, which means instead of 2x optical zoom, you get 2.5x optical zoom. That's whether you're using the standard photo, portrait, or even doing stuff in video. And on top of getting additional optical zoom, you can get up to 12x, 12 times digital zoom. Now the regular iPhone 12 Pro, that'll only go up to 10 times optical or digital zoom, and the 12 Pro Max will go up to 12 times, so 10 times versus 12 times digital zoom. Here you can see the difference. This is 10 times and this is 12 times using that digital zoom on the 12 Pro Max. Additionally, up to that 12 times digital zoom on photos, you can get additional zoom on video. So you have 2.5 times for just your basic, but going all the way in, you can get up to 7 times digital zoom when shooting video. So here we are, 4K, 60 frames per second, HDR, glorious video, and we can go up to 7 times digital zoom, whereas the other phones are limited to only 6 times. So you get additional zoom there all around, thanks to that new telephoto lens on the 12 Pro Max. Our fifth favorite new feature is Apple ProRAW. Now I want to say right now, this is not the iPhone 12 Pro Max. This is our iPhone 12 Pro, just the regular Pro. And the reason we're showing you this is because currently Apple ProRAW is only in beta. We have our iPhone 12 Pro already updated to iOS 14.3, which includes that Apple ProRAW toggle inside of settings. And when you enable that, you can turn it on and off from within the camera app. Now, Apple ProRAW is pretty fantastic. Typically, you have to choose between computational photography, such as Deep Fusion and Smart HDR3, or you can choose between RAW, which gives you additional details in the highlights and the shadows. You have to pick between those, but with Apple ProRAW, you get the best of both worlds. It is an incredible feature, this new image format coming to the iPhone 12 Pro and iPhone 12 Pro Max. And we're mentioning it here because it was not available when we looked at the iPhone 12 Pro, and it will soon be available for both of these devices. The sixth new feature that I am excited about is RAM. These are the first iPhones that include 6 gigs of RAM inside. Now, this is a very unscientific test, but we've been using this phone a ton today, going in and out of apps, doing all this different stuff, kind of testing it out, pushing limits and benchmarking, all the normal stuff that we would do. So we went through the phone, we opened up a ton of apps, basically almost every app that we could on our phone, made sure they loaded first, went through any prompts or anything that had picked up. So we opened a ton of apps, and then we went and we exported a video. I exported a 4K video, just wanted to kind of 4K HDR video, kind of let it process for a second and really constrain the system for just a few moments. So we saved that video to kind of, distract the phone for a moment, and then we go back to those apps and we can see that it's able to keep everything in memory. Going all the way back here, all these open apps, any one that I jumped into, instantly loaded. No issues whatsoever. It was just blazing fast. It was so cool. Of course, you have the A14 Bionic processor along with that 6 gigs of RAM, but you really should notice a benefit to multitasking with apps, reloading or not having to reload, as well as multiple tabs not having to reopen too. Lastly, just going back to the camera for our last one on the list, and that is the new Max ISO. Because of that new larger image sensor on here, 47% larger, allows in so much more light, Apple is able to increase the ISO, that light sensitivity, on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So the iPhone 12 Pro has a top ISO of 5808, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max has a top ISO of 7616. So definitely better shots.